All right, welcome. Today we are diving deep right into the most complex thing in the known universe, the human brain. I mean, think about it. This is the command center that runs everything, what you do, what you think, how you feel. So let's get into it. Okay, so we're going to start with just one number, 60%. Now, what do you think that represents? Take a guess. This is the main number one ingredient of that incredible 3-pound machine inside your head. And trust me, the answer is probably not what you're thinking. Yep, it's fat. Your brain is roughly 60% fat, which actually makes it the fattiest organ in your entire body. The rest? Oh, it's just a mix of water, protein, carbs, and salts. So let's just get this straight right from the get-go. The brain is not a muscle, not even close. It's this incredibly delicate fatty control center that's running the whole show. Now, you can imagine an organ that delicate needs some serious protection. So, for the first part of our tour, we're going to look at the amazing fortress that keeps our command center safe. We'll start from the very outside and work our way in. Okay, so right under the hard bone of your skull, the brain is wrapped in these 3 protective sheets called the meninges. You can kind of think of them as a triple-layered suit of armor. The outer layer, that's the dura mater, which literally means tough mother in Latin. And believe me, it is. Then you've got the web-like arachnoid mater. And right up against the brain is the pia mater, the tender mother, which gently hugs the brain's surface. And beneath those layers, we get the next level of security. See, the brain isn't just sitting there in the skull. It's actually floating. It's suspended in this clear liquid, cerebrospinal fluid, or CSF for short. This stuff acts like a perfect shock absorber, protecting it from bumps and sudden jolts. And your body is like this little factory, churning out about half a liter of this protective fluid every single day. So that's the fortress. Pretty cool, right? Now, let's peel back those final layers and look at the actual stuff the brain is made of. And it's not all one uniform blob. Not at all. The brain is really made of 2 main types of tissue. You've got gray matter and white matter. The gray matter, that's on the brain's outer surface, and that's where all the information processing happens. Think of it as the computer itself. The white matter, which is found deeper inside, is like the information superhighway. It's all the cables and wiring that connect all the different computers together. And what are both gray and white made of? Billions and billions of these things. Neurons. These are the fundamental nerve cells, the building blocks of the brain. Each one has a main cell body, these little branches called dendrites that receive signals, and then one long cable called an axon to send signals out. They talk to each other across this tiny little gap called a synapse, using this amazing mix of electricity and chemicals. And here's where it all circles back to fat. Remember we said the brain is 60% fat? Well, many of those long axons are wrapped in a fatty coating called myelin. This myelin sheath is what actually gives white matter its color, and it works exactly like the plastic insulation on an electrical wire, letting those nerve signals travel at just incredible speeds. All right, so we've seen the protection, we've seen the building blocks. Now let's zoom back out and look at the brain's overall geography. It's all organized into these distinct territories, and each one has its own critical job to do. So, at the very top level, the brain has 3 main parts. First, you've got the cerebrum. That's the massive, wrinkly part you always picture when you think brain. It handles all the higher level stuff, like thinking. Tucked underneath that is the cerebellum, which is the master of balance and coordinated movement. And then, connecting the whole thing to the spinal cord is the brainstem. That's our autopilot for all the basic survival functions. Breathing, heartbeat, you name it. Now, that giant cerebrum we talked about, it's split right down the middle into 2 halves, a left and a right hemisphere. But they don't work alone. They're constantly talking to each other through this massive superhighway of nerve fibers, that white matter we mentioned, called the corpus callosum. This is, quite literally, how your left hand knows what your right hand is doing. And each of those hemispheres is divided up into 4 main zones, or lobes. You can think of this like a simplified map. Up at the front, you've got the frontal lobe. That's your CEO. It handles your personality, problem solving, all the complex decisions. Behind that is the parietal lobe, which processes all the sensations from the world, touch, temperature, that kind of thing. Then, way at the back, you have the occipital lobe, a whole region that is completely dedicated to making sense of everything you see. And finally, over by your temples, the temporal lobe. It manages hearing, understanding language, and, super importantly, creating memories. Okay, for our last stop on this tour, we're gonna dive deep inside the brain, way below that outer cortex. We're on the hunt for the hidden control centers that manage our most basic drives, things like memory, emotion, and all the systems that run on complete autopilot. So check out this description: the gateway to consciousness. Pretty powerful, right? That's referring to a structure called the thalamus. It basically acts as the brain's central relay station. Almost all of the sensory information coming into your brain, everything you see, hear, and feel, with the weird exception of smell, it all gets routed through the thalamus first. It's the bouncer, filtering what's important and deciding what actually gets passed along to your conscious mind. And working right alongside the thalamus are some other really key players. The hypothalamus, sitting just below it, is like your body's smart thermostat, controlling things like hunger, thirst, and your body temperature. Nearby, you have the seahorse-shaped hippocampus, which is absolutely essential for creating new memories. And then there's the amygdala, which is like your internal alarm system, constantly scanning for danger and processing fear. Altogether, these deep systems are shaping our instincts and our memories without us even knowing it. And we also find two tiny but incredibly powerful glands deep in the brain. You've got the pituitary gland, which is the master of your body's entire hormone system, controlling things like growth and metabolism. And then the pineal gland, which is like our internal clock. It produces melatonin when it gets dark to tell our body, hey, it's time to sleep. Wow. Okay, so we've journeyed from the brain's outer armor all the way to its deepest control centers. We've looked at its cells, its tissues, its different territories. So what does all of this incredible, intricate architecture actually mean for us, for our lives? Well, this is exactly why understanding the structure matters so much. Because when things go wrong, in a disease like Alzheimer's, these intricate systems start to break down. Nerve cells die, the brain can actually physically shrink, and the connections that we rely on for everything, for memory, for knowing where we are, even for our very sense of who we are, they start to fray. And that really brings us to the final mind-bending thought. Every single thing you've ever experienced, every sight, every memory, every idea, every feeling, it was all built by this 3-pound organ of fat and water. It constructs your entire reality from nothing more than electrical signals and chemical reactions, which leaves us with a pretty profound question to think about. If that's the case, then who or what is the architect of your reality?